Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry for the delay in starting. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunnmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Mathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। So as you all might have heard, well, today is Ekadashi, but there's a very senior and sweet disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He's in a very, very critical condition. He had 3 heart attacks last night and is in ICU, I believe, on ventilator. So let us chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra with the bottom of our hearts for Lord Krishna's and Lord Nrsimhadev's protection to him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare
Ram.
Hare. He's a very, very senior, very sweet disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And more recently, he has developed the congregations in the New Delhi area like wildfire. So he has done a lot for Srila Prabhupada, and we pray that Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna, Lord Nrsimhadev keep him under their protection always. Okay, we will start with our Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ. What happened? All right. Okay, welcome to Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ class. God, send a text message. Send it. And so welcome to Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ class by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. English summary study, Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Grace, Abhay Chatnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it says stop recording, so it must be. Yes, Surya Prabhu, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
No problem.
Okay, you can mute yourself, or you can. So we will sing the 2 verses of Shat Goswami Ashtakam here in the room together. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Matsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopal Ko Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Okay, we'll do this lead follow. If you want, you can unmute. And we'll sing these to lead follow. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam
Anya Bhilashita Shunyam
Dyanavritam
Jnana Karmadhyanavritam
Anukulena Krishnanu
Anukulena Krishnanu
Tilanam Bhaktiruttama
Jailanam Bhakti-ruttama
Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam
Sarvapati Nirmuktam
Tatparatvena Nirmalam
Tatparatvena Nirmalam
Ena Rishikesha
Rishikena Rishikesha
Devanam Bhaktiruchyate
Devanam Bhakti-ruchyate
Shri Krishna Namadi
Tatak Shri Krishna Namadi
Bhavet Grahyamindriyaihi
Nabhavedriyai
Devonmukhe Jivhado
Devanmukhe Jihvada
Swayameva Suratyadaha
Svayameva Suratyadaha
Anasaktasya Vishayan
Anasaktasya Vishayan
Dharmupayunjataha
Yadharhamupayunyataha
Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe
Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe
Yuktam Vairagyamuchyate
Yuktam Vairagyamuchyate.
Okay. All right. So now we continue from where we left off yesterday. So we are doing 2 days of Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ in order to make faster progress. So we read these 2 verses yesterday and we started the analysis of these 2 because the analysis is given by Sri Rupa Goswami as well. So these 2 verses show 6 types of relationships that devotees have with Shri Krishna. And these relationships are Kama by the Gopis, Gopyah Kamad, Bhaya by Kamsa, Bhayat Kamso. Then Dvesha by Chaitya Adi Nripaha. Chaitya is a place somewhere. The kings of that place, and including Shishupal and all, were in Dvesha or envy of Sri Krishna. Sambandhat Vrishnayah. So Vrishnis in a relationship, some sort of a family relationship, like a cousins and all that. Snehad Yuyam. So Narad Muni is speaking this to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Yuyam is you, kind of. So Sneha and Bhaktya Vayam. Vayam is we, the rishis, the devotees who have now attained the status of a rishi, like Narad Muni, as Bhaktya Vayam. So 6 categories were mentioned, and we started the analysis of this yesterday, and then we discussed that there are 2 categories in this, Bhaya and Dvesha by Kamsa and the kings like Shishupal, etc. They also have very, very strong absorption, or we can say strong attachment, but in a negative way. They were attached to hate Krishna, or they were absorbed completely in hatred of Sri Krishna. And that also gave them liberation. So here in the previous verse is a very important one. The last 2 lines, Aveshya tad agham hitva. By this Aveshya, manaha Aveshya. So we can see the whole thing again. Kamad, Dveshad, Bhayad, Snehad, Yatha Bhakti Aishwarya, manaha Aveshya. So by absorbing, Aveshya means absorption or investment of the man in any of these ways, Kama, Dvesha, Bhaya, Sneha, etc. Tad agham hitva, by all their agham means sins, hitva means destroyed. All their sins got destroyed. Bahavas means many such people. All these examples are given. Tad gatim gatah, went to the supreme destination. So the question comes that, even the enemies, even those who are negatively thinking of Krishna, they also got liberation. And then we discussed this very important verse, very confusing verse, so to say, that Vairanubandhena. So Maryatyas tan mayatam iyat na tatha bhakti yogena iti me nishchita matihi. So Narad Muni is saying that Yatha Vairanubandhena. Vair means animosity. So this animosity, by this animosity, one can go to the supreme destination, na tatha bhakti yogena, not by bhakti yoga. That's surprising or confusing, but the meaning is that this is mechanical bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti. This bhakti yoga is mechanical Vaidhi Bhakti. So yesterday I did not use the word mechanical, and I want to stress on the fact that it's not like Vaidhi Bhakti is bad. At some times, those who are explaining rāgānuga bhakti or bhakti in absorption, somehow it may appear there is no intent, but maybe the words come out like that. Or maybe the understanding in the listener, in the audience is, oh, Vaidhi Bhakti is like useless. What am I doing? It's like a cheating, or something false was told to us. It was like a false promise. The real thing is this. No, that's not the point. But the point is, for many people, including myself, for many years, I can say this by personal experience, Vaidhi Bhakti becomes mechanical. Oh, I have given vow to the deity or to my guru or whatever, and it becomes devoid of absorption, or it becomes mechanical. That Vaidhi Bhakti is denounced, or is said that better to think of Krishna, to absorb yourself in Krishna even in an inimical way, compared to this mechanical bhakti where there is no feeling, there is no absorption. You're just moving your muscles. The mind is somewhere else, the muscles are moving. That one is useless. It's not useless, but it's, absorption is higher, even in a negative way. So that is where we will start today. That absorption in Sri Krishna is key. So I want to stress this point. Very, very important point. So today's class is very important. And so will be the next two classes. In next two classes, I intend to finish rāgātmika Bhakti. However, whenever we get the chance to do next two classes, we'll discuss about that. So today's class, next two classes are extremely important. Please pay very careful attention. And as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we had discussed last time, the goal is to graduate up to the level of rāgātmika Bhakti for everyone. And you don't have to wait for 15 years. In Hari Parshad Prabhu's class, he mentioned 15 years as a time. We forget what was the 15 years for. Anybody remembers?
To get fed up of, like, to get fed up of the current level and get.
No, not 15 years for getting fed up. Then it's too long. He said 15 years for Ashtakaliya Leela, which is a very, very, very high level of in rāgātmika Bhakti. Okay, so that means this one has to start much earlier. Okay. So what I am saying is there are some sort of relatively newer people I see, 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. It's not like, oh, abhi to abhi time hai. Let me just do my mechanical chanting. No, 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 not like that. So one must try to, and even in Vaidhi Bhakti, absorption is very, very important. So it's not that absorption equal to rāgātmika Bhakti. Absorption in Vaidhi Bhakti is also extremely, extremely important. And the more you absorb yourself, the more quickly you will, that raga will, one day it will. It's not a mechanical consequence. If you do Vaidhi Bhakti with absorption, it will lead to mechanically, or it's like a given result. It's like a mechanical outcome that will happen by Sri Krishna's mercy. The raga will, the attachment or that absorption, that attachment to Sri Krishna, that raga will happen by Sri Krishna's mercy, but it is likely to happen much sooner if you absorb yourself in Vaidhi Bhakti. So absorption, no matter, it's not like, oh, I'm not at rāgātmika level. No need for absorption. Chalo, absorption, cancel. No, you cannot cancel absorption. So absorption in Sri Krishna is key. So the lesson from the previous discussion is that it's showing the glory of absorption in Sri Krishna, regardless of it being favorable or unfavorable. If unfavorable absorption was so useful, how much more useful or beneficial will favorable absorption be? That's the point. Okay. And we must also understand that Uttama Bhakti is anukulyena, favorable. So even though absorption is very important, but don't take the example of Shishupal or others, because then it will not be anukul Bhakti. So the point is, Bhakti does not include that. It is just being shown so that to show the superiority of absorption. Okay. So the point is strong absorption. I may be repeating myself 10th time, but what to do? You have to repeat. So absorption in Sri Krishna is paramount. And mechanical Vaidhi Bhakti is okay in the beginning, but one should not allow it to continue for too long. Okay. Some initial mechanical is okay. Maybe that's also not okay. Mechanical is never okay, but one should recognize if you are doing mechanical and quickly come out of it. Okay. And here I have said devotees must be very mindful of graduating up from mechanical Vaidhi Bhakti to performing Bhakti with absorption, whether it is Vaidhi or rāgātmika. Vaidhi Bhakti also can be done with absorption. Only then one will graduate up to the level of Bhava Bhakti. From Vaidhi Bhakti also you can go to Bhava Bhakti. Rāgātmika is not the gateway, only gateway. You can go to Bhava Bhakti from both Vaidhi and rāgātmika. Okay. So with absorption, you must do either of them wherever you are. Now, absorption itself should not become mechanical. Okay? Don't mechanically absorb yourself, then it's all mechanical only. It's just one different change of words. At end of the day, it is mechanical. So how do you do genuine absorption rather than mechanical? Oh, Prabhuji said mechanical absorption. Okay, absorption. So what does it mean? Or how do you genuinely absorb yourself? So try to become actually interested in Sri Krishna. What is absorption? You get absorbed. Mother gets absorbed in the child. Wife gets absorbed in the husband, or people get absorbed in their jobs. If it's a boring job, you'll never get absorbed. If it's interesting or there is some carrot at the end, typically it's driven by sometimes by a carrot also. But the moment the carrot is gone, the absorption is also gone. So the point is to get genuinely interested in Sri Krishna. Yes, you can consider it like a carrot, but that object, that, a better word than carrot is that object of love. So when Krishna becomes the object of our love or our genuine interest, then the absorption will occur. And remember the example that I was giving last time of my billiards thing. How do you develop interest? One good way of developing interest in something is to know about that thing or the person in question. So how do you know about Krishna? What is the source to know about Krishna? Reading Shastra, yes. So the starting point for developing that absorption or that interest which will lead to absorption is careful and attentive, not passive. Again, this should also, Bhagavatam reading should not become mechanical. So anywhere where mechanical is entering, try to remove the mechanics and try to genuinely and attentively hear and study Srimad Bhagavatam. Who is being talked about? What is so interesting in Srimad Bhagavatam? And much, much, much of the interest or the nice things, sweet things come from commentaries of Acharyas. So including the commentaries. When one reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, so much sweetness comes that one develops. Love may not be the prema, the madhurya love, but just absorption, even as a awe and reverence, like Narsinghadev. Who can love? There is no love for Narsinghadev. There is no madhurya ras, or you cannot. But that when you see how kind Narsinghadev was, how much he cared for Prahlad, how much he was like, that whole conversation between Prahlad and even the devotees, how much they are devoted to their Lord, what all they are going through for the sake of the Lord. When we read all that, we develop attraction to Sri Krishna or Sri Vishnu or any of the other avatars. So that develops genuine attraction, that develops attachment. And then when we do our Vaidhi Bhakti even, try to do it with attachment or with absorption. So then this absorption will increase, and that is the point. And another thing, associating with those who have such absorption. Very important. If you cannot sit and read, or even if you sit and read, so both ways, the book and the person. We say the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So two types of Bhagavat. So those two types of Bhagavat are being talked about in these two last bullets. The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. Yeah? Okay? So this is very, very, very important, absorption in Sri Krishna. And that is the point being shown by Shishupal and others. The good aspect of Shishupal, so to say, is that he was so absorbed in Sri Krishna. There was no comparison. I mean, there is comparison to the gopis and all, but he's just beyond much of the comparison. His absorption was too great in Sri Krishna, even though in a negative way. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay, so next. So this was, remember, there were 6 we talked about. Now we will eliminate, we have eliminated how many? We just eliminated 2. Arey nahi bhaiya. Dvesha and Bhaya. Kamsa and Shishupal and... Okay. Keep track, okay? Pay attention. I know it's a lot. Now we will eliminate one more, which is Pandavas. Okay? What was Pandavas called? Yuyam. You guys, Yuyam. Which was Sneha, yes. Okay? And Vrishnis were Sambandha. So that will remain. So we are going to eliminate Sneha, Yuyam. So mood of Pandavas. So Pandavas have a mixed mood towards Sri Krishna. Okay, now we cannot say Pandavas are not bhaktas. They are very, 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 very elevated bhaktas. Okay, so they have a mixed mood. And please remember this. Who is given as the example of Sakhya? Arjun. So, and Sakhya, is one of the rasas in which one interacts with Krishna. So they have a mixed mood. Okay, so that is the point being made. It's not like they are. One of the question was, are the Pandavas rāgātmika bhaktas? So they are not. So let's go through this. That's what I'm going to explain. Sometimes they are aware of his godliness and sometimes not. If like they are aware of his godliness, isn't it? Sometimes that's why Pandavas, Draupadi called Sri Krishna and Arjun said, I don't want your army, I just want you. Not because he was just looking for a friend. He knew that wherever is Sri Krishna, that is the whole world. He is the whole world. What's the point of his tiny amount of energy called his 9 Akshauhini Senas? That is so minuscule compared to him. So there was that awe and reverence. Let me have Krishna rather than his tiny little energy. So he was aware at that point. But at the same time, when he accepted Krishna as the Sarathi, he could have kept him on the side, no? You sit like next to me like my, what you call chief advisor. He could have hired another Sarathi. But why did he accept him as a Sarathi? Because he treated him as a friend. So there he was like, treating him like okay, you are my friend, you can drive my car. So that awe and reverence kind of went down a little in that. Otherwise, why would you accept him like a driver if you had so much awe and reverence for him? So that is the point. There is a mixed mood. And their mood is mixed with awe and reverence. So their Sakhya mood, their friendly mood is mixed with awe and reverence, which forces them to be restrained by formality and etiquette at most or at some times. Okay, so that's the point. It's mixed. Basically, that's the point, mixed. There are so many bullets just to say one word, mixed. They have a mixed mood. And therefore, their sneha is called Aishwarya Gyan Pradhan Sneha. It is kind of self-explanatory. Aishwarya Gyan Pradhan. What it means is that the knowledge that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord is predominant in their mind. Pradhan. Most of the time. Most of the time. So they can be called as rāgātmika bhaktas because they are mixed. It's not zero, but not as precisely as and purely as the Vrajvasis. So when the example of rāgātmika bhakta is taken, it is Vrajvasis. And because their bhakti is not restricted by awe and reverence at all, the Vrajvasis. For Pandavas, it is. Okay? So that is the point. Basically, at most times, they are aware of Krishna's awe and reverence. That is the point. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Next, back to, so this is, and the fourth one which will be eliminated will be Narada Muni. I don't have a slide on it, but that is Vaidhi Bhakti, which is very clear. Okay? So back to attainment. So now we'll go forward in the verses. Sri Rupa Goswami spends 3 verses to explain this attainment of what was the destination of Kamsa and Shishupal, etc. Chaidya Adayoh, the kings of Chaidya. So what is the destination of those, and just an analysis of that, because some people could get confused, and just to make sure. So that verse, if you remember, 274 talked about that all of these who were mentioned in that verse, they were so absorbed in Krishna, aveshya manah aveshya tad, if you remember, tad gatim gatah, they attained the supreme destination. That was mentioned. So all of them were there: snehad, kamad, dvesha, all those were there. So the doubt that can arise is that how is it that both favorable and unfavorable absorption in Krishna leads to the same result? So is it same result or different result?
Different type of liberation.
Yes. So Mataji is saying here that they might have attained a different type of liberation. So that's the correct answer. And there also we will see a small technicality. So again, as devotees, it is very important to understand these technicalities. And all this is a way of absorbing ourselves in Sri Krishna. So 3 verses, 278, 279, and 280 answer this so perfectly. I like these verses very much. Somehow I have this duplicate slide. So 278. So very nice verse. So 4 lines. Yad arinam priyanam cha prapyam ekam ivoditam tad brahma krishnayor ekyat kirana arka upamajushoh. So yad arinam priyanam cha, 2 types of people are given. Priyanam and Ari. Ari kaun hota hai? Ari means enemy, and Priya means
Enemy.
Priya means we can say friend, or in a loving friend, dear. So when discussing enemies and friends of Sri Krishna, Priyanam, Arinam, Priyanam cha, Prapyam Ekam. It seems like they all attain the Ekam, the same destination. Prapya means to attain. Ekam Ivoditam. That's how it has been said, that they attained the same destination. But that oneness, that ekam, that oneness, tad brahma krishnayor ekyat, that oneness is the same as the oneness of Brahman and the person Krishna. We say that they are both the same aspects, or the aspects of the same person, or the same absolute truth. So in that sense, they are called one, just like Kirana Arka. Arka means sun, and Kiran means the sun ray. So just like the oneness between the sun rays and the sun. All right. So what is being said here is that they do not attain the same destination. One of them, so there is, just like there is difference, there is oneness of the absolute truth between Brahman and Sri Krishna, the person Krishna. There is oneness, but there is difference. Brahman and Sri Krishna are different, just like the sun ray and the sun globe are different. So what happens is, and this will be shown in the next verse, that those who are in the Brahman realization, they are absorbed in self-happiness versus absorbed in serving the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Okay, so that is the difference. Those who are the Priyanam, they are absorbed in serving the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. And here when we say Priyanam, we are talking about those who are the pure devotees. Within the Priyanam, even the favorable ones, there may be those who are absorbed in, like, they are not unfavorable like the yogis. Now there's a quiz question coming up where technically we will see they are unfavorable. So I'll ask a quiz question. So we'll see. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah, they are absorbed in serving the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, and this is for the pure devotees. Very famous verse, which I like very much and which has been quoted by Sri Rupa Goswami as well, is this verse. Please remember this verse, 3:29:13, okay? Very important verse, 3:29:13. सालोक्य सार्ष्टि सामीप्य सारूप्य एकत्वम अप्युत दीयमानम न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनम जनाः. So meaning is more or less, sorry, I should have shared the screen. So the meaning is more or less self-evident that these types of liberation, salokya, sarshti, samipya, sarupya, aikatvam, apyuta, all these, diyamanam na grihananti, that even if I'm willing to give, the devotees don't accept it or don't want to accept it, vina mat sevanam, if I offer these liberations, these type of liberation without my seva. Okay, you can take liberation and you be, mind your own business. I will mind my own business. No seva. You don't need to serve me. You just take the salokya liberation and be happy. The devotee will say, no, thank you. I will stay in the material world, but as long as I can serve you, it doesn't matter whether I am material world or spiritual world. Service is topmost. Where I am doing service is less relevant. That is the meaning. So that is the point of that verse, that the pure devotees, they attain the Brahman, but the pure devotees, they are okay to accept the other liberation because there is seva opportunity there also. So that is how we understand. So let me share this screen again. Yeah. So absorbed. So that is serving the lotus feet, and then absorbed in self-happiness. This also can be understood. They are not even absorbed in self-happiness. They are self-happiness. Their body, they don't have a material body. One who is liberated and gets Brahman liberation does not have a material body. Can he ever have material body? No, he's liberated. Their body is made up of happiness. They are happiness. They are one with happiness. That's the sort of the impersonal, the understanding of impersonal liberation is that they are just happy. They are made up of happiness. It's not like they are happy. Their constitution is happiness, whatever that means. But Sri Jiva Goswami adds that Brahman effulgence is subordinate to the personal form. Any Bhagavad Gita shlok which substantiates this? Remember? Which one? Number or first line?
6.47 Prabhuji, Yogi Namapi Sarvesham.
Nahi. So where does it?
9.34 Prabhuji.
9.34 is Man Manha Bhavamad Bhakto.
No.
No, 9 point, the different destinations, people praying to demigods and all. I forgot the number maybe.
But where does it say the supremacy of or Brahman effulgence is subordinate to the personal form? Brahmano hi pratishtha aham, Damodar Leela is saying. That is 14.27. In Bhagavad Gita, if there is one verse which most clearly says that Brahman is subordinate to the supreme or the personal form, it is 14.27. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. I am the foundation of the Brahman. 14.27, and Sri Jiva Goswami is saying that. I am not saying that. Jiva Goswami is quoting the one verse of Bhagavad Gita, 14.27, in his commentary, saying that there are these two types of liberation, but the Brahman liberation is considered subordinate or inferior to the personal liberation. Now again, on next verse. So this we have talked about in so many ISKCON classes. Brahman realization, you should not aim, personal, impersonal. We talk about it so much, right? Now this is a new thing which is going to come up in the next slide. It's going to talk about even if the destination is the same, the difference is there in the mood and absorption. How many of you have heard, for example, which demon got a personal liberation? Who remembers?
Putana.
Yes, that's a very famous example. Putana got a personal liberation. Are? So now, is she equal to pure devotees who are living in spiritual world? She also tried to kill Krishna. She was kya bolenge? Animosical, whatever, inimical to Krishna. So how come she got same? Are both equal, devotees and Putana?
After liberation, they are same.
They are same. This verse, then you need to. This verse will be new for you. They are not same, and Sri Rupa Goswami is saying this. All right. So even they are not the same. So very nice verse. So let us read this verse. Brahmanya eva layam yanti prayena ripavo hareh kechit prapyapi sarupya bhasam majjanti tat sukhe. So there's a break. Sarupya bhasam. So meter wise, this is Anushtup. You have to break it. But sarupya abhasam. But if you break it that way, there'll be 9 syllables in the last one. So that's why I have shown it that way. Now, if you count, there'll be 8 in every line. And also in the chanting, it is sweet. So, Brahmanya eva layam yanti prayena ripavo hare kechit prapyapi sarupya bhasam majjanti tat sukhe. Okay, if you say abhasam majjanti, you'll feel like little off meter. Anyway, but abhasam. So that's important word. Okay. So the point is Brahmanya eva layam yanti. Attainment of that merging into Brahman, which is Brahman, which is the Sayujya Mukti. Prayena ripavo hare. Rip. Kaun hota hai rip? Ripu. Ripu means? Enemy. So that prayena ripavo hare, that is the destination of most of the enemies of Lord Hari. Okay. But kechit prapyapi sarupya. Sarupya. Some attain the sarupya. Now, Putana attained a Salokya, but there was another example of Shrigla Vasudeva. He attained Sarupya. He was also, he was pretending to be Krishna and Krishna killed him and he attained Sarupya Mukti. So he attained a form in the spiritual world like Krishna. So some attain the personal form, like here it is given Sarupya, but what they attain is not Sarupya, but Sarupya Abhas, which means just a semblance of Sarupya. Majjanti tat sukhe. Even there in the Sarupya, they are situated in self-happiness. So they are almost like Sayujya. Even though they may be there, they are not doing seva of Krishna. They are just situated in self-happiness. So that is the verse composed by Sri Rupa Goswami to explain the difference. So, but they just have a semblance of attaining the personal form of the Lord. Even in that state, they are just absorbed in the happiness of Brahman. So their situation is not much different than Sayujya Mukti. So there is a difference. That's the point being made. So some demons such as Putana, etc. attained one of the 4 personal liberations, but their state is almost the same as those who are merged into Brahman. Even in the personally liberated state, they are absorbed in self-happiness only. And they do not perform service to the Lord. So that is the difference. All right? Okay?
Does that mean that whoever is getting like Sayujya Mukti, they are also in the Vaikuntha, but they are engaged in self-happiness?
No, Sayujya Mukti specifically means merged into Brahman.
But are they still present in Vaikuntha Lok? And
No, Vaikuntha Lok, as we understand, is one of the 4 other liberations. Now, for that, we have to go into the definition of what is Vaikuntha Lok. So, if Vaikuntha Lok we consider as a spiritual planet, then Sayujya is different. Okay? Okay? Anything else? Okay. Okay? So that is the difference between the enemies of the Lord and the devotees of the Lord. One more verse is there, and this is evidence from Brahmanda Purana. So here, okay, yeah. सिद्धलोकस्तु तमसः पारे यत्र वसन्ति हि सिद्धा ब्रह्म सुखे मग्ना दैत्याश्च हरिणः हताः. So this is evidence from Brahmanda Purana, which is saying the same thing, that siddha brahma sukhe magna, that even though, so siddha lokastu tamasaha, please pay careful attention, this is now evidence. Rupa Goswami is saying that I have composed this previous verse. So, okay, why should one trust Rupa Goswami? Every time he gives evidence from Puranas, from the Shastras. So this is just his word for us is as good as Puranas, but he is citing another Puran. And this is Brahmanda Purana, and where he sings Siddha Lokas tu tamasaha. So the Siddha Loka, now Siddha Loka we usually consider as the, one of the material lokas. But here is saying tu tamasaha, but the tamasaha, which means beyond the tamas. And Sri Jiva Goswami writes in the commentary, tamasaha means material world. So beyond the material world, which means Siddha Loka need to be interpreted here as spiritual world, spiritual planet, not world, loka, planet. Brahman is never called loka. Okay, loka means planet. Pare yatra vasantihi, who's which is the destination. Vasanti means the destination, or jahan pe wo rehte hain, vaas karte hain. Of who? The demons, which will come in the fourth line, Daitya. Siddha Brahma Sukhe Magna, and the Siddhas who have attained Siddhi through various means, the impersonalists, etc., who remain absorbed in Brahma Sukha Magna. So there also these Siddhas and the Daityas cha Harina Hataha, that those who have been Hata means killed by Hari. So the demons who have been killed by Hari and these Siddhas, they may attain this Siddha Loka, but there also they stay as Brahma Sukh Magna. Brahma Sukh Magna, you understand, that they are just absorbed in Brahma Sukh. So that is exactly, almost exactly the same meaning as the previous verse. That even though they may attain a personal liberation, there also they are just absorbed in Brahma Sukh. So Siddha Loka is referring to the spiritual planet, and therefore this verse talks about the demons who have attained personal liberation, and it also talks about one more, which is Siddhas, the impersonalists. Typically, impersonalists attain Sayujya Mukti, but this is talking about those Siddhas who have somehow or the other attained personal liberation. So both of these, they are just absorbed in Brahma Sukh Magna. They are just happy, they are absorbed in Brahma Sukh over there also. Okay? Okay, clear? So three verses are talking about the difference in the destinations of the demons versus, even though they all attain spiritual world, they are liberated from material world, there is still a difference in what they attain. Mainly they attain the Brahman realization, and the devotees attain the personal realization. But even by chance, even if a demon attains personal realization, that is also not, that's almost as good as Brahman realization. That is the point being made. All right, I hope you're all following so far. It's not too confusing, I hope. All right. Okay, enough about the demons and the impersonalists. Who do we want to talk about? Devotees. So what is the destination of the devotees? Or the highest devotees are the Gopis. So what is their destination? So Sri Rupa Goswami says their destination is Rāgabandhena kenapi tan bhajanto vrajantyami angri padma sudha prema rupastasya priyajanah. So completely Rāgabandhena kenapi. Kenapi means somehow or the other. So somehow or the other they are completely, it's not for any reason. If otherwise there should have been a reason. That raga bandhena for swasukham, then it becomes a hetu. For my happiness, I'm attached to Krishna or anything like that. There is no reason, just somehow or the other. Okay, ahaituki. So kenapi. So somehow or the other, they are raga bandhena. They are so strongly attached, bound in attachment, in absorption to Krishna. Tan bhajanto vrajantyami. These Vraja Gopis always do tan bhajanti, your bhajan. Angri Padma Sudha Prema. They attain the Sudha means the nectar of your lotus feet. Angri means feet, Padma means lotus. So they attain the nectar of your lotus feet, the prema, the loving nectar of your lotus feet. Who attains this form, Rupa? Tasya Priya Janaha, your loving devotees, that is the Gopis of Vrindavan, they attain the loving service of your lotus feet. That is the destination of the Gopis. So Shri Jiva Goswami says that this Priya Janaha is specifically referring to the Gopis of Vraj. Okay. Now with this was 281 and final verse is 282, which is the same as 10th canto, 87th chapter. This is the 87th chapter is the prayers of the Vedas personified, the Shruti. It is known as Shruti Stuti. Okay, the prayers of the Shrutis or the Vedas. So I am taking the translation by His Holiness Bhanu Swami. There is slight difference between the BBT translation and Bhanu Swami translation. Because BBT translation is a general translation, Bhanu Swami's translation is specific, which brings out the various mood of what is trying to be evidenced for this discussion. So it is contextual. So I have not quoted the verse, it's a very long verse, but the translation given by Bhanu Swami I have quoted as it is. Simply by constantly thinking of him, the enemies of the Lord attained the same Brahman. Okay, so this is evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam for pretty much everything we have discussed so far. One verse, all evidence. Okay, so the enemies of the Lord, simply by constantly thinking of him, the enemies of the Lord attained the same Brahman whom the sages fixed in impersonal liberation or impersonal sages basically fixed in yoga worship of controlling the breath, mind and senses. You have heard all that, right? वो दवाई आई होगी शायद. So whom the sages who are the impersonalist sages, attain that Brahman realization, the enemies of the Lord also attained because of their constant absorption in Krishna. Similarly, we, the Shrutis, these are the Shrutis personified, the Vedas personified, they are saying, adopting a mood similar to the Gopis. Okay? And finally attaining similar bodies. So by following, so the Shrutis are saying we are going to follow the rāgātmika Bhakta. And who are the rāgātmika Bhaktas in this case? The Gopis. So by adopting a mood similar to the Gopis, we will achieve the same nectarian form or the same nectar from your lotus feet that your consorts or the Gopis are able to relish because of their loving attraction to your mighty serpentine arms. So that is the verse. So this is an evidence for several points. I have put it in 3 colors, blue, red and green. So first of all, it is showing, this verse from Bhagavatam is showing that the enemies attain Brahman realization. And so do the impersonalists, both of them, right? Pure devotees attain the same destination as the Gopis of Vraja, right? That is the second point. And the third point is they attain so by following in their footsteps. So these are the points that are being established through quoting this verse. So I'm showing you why Sri Rupa Goswami is quoting this verse at this place, because it's capturing some of the points he's trying to justify or establish through this verse. All right. It's little technical, or but again, the point is to understand that both the enemies and the impersonalists, they attain sayujya or impersonal liberation. The devotees attain personal liberation. There can be some rare exceptions who attain personal, but they are as good as impersonal. So we'll kind of put it all in as impersonal. The devotees attain personal liberation, and the sadhaka, the practicing devotee, need to follow in the footsteps of that siddha, or that. So one is a sadhak, one is a siddha. So need to follow in the footsteps of the siddha devotee, known as the rāgātmika devotee, to get there. All right. Okay. So one section is over. Now quiz question. So both in this verse and the previous one, why are the impersonalists and demons equated together? They both attain the same destination, right? Sayujya Mukti. And in the previous verse also, it was said, by somehow or the other, if they attain the personal liberation also, it is as good as impersonal. Correct? Siddha, if you remember, Siddha and Daitya. So there also it was said, here also it is said, the enemies of the Lord as well as the sages fixed in controlling their breath and mind and senses, these are the impersonalists. So why are they being equated? Isn't there a difference? Yes, there is a difference, but there is a big similarity. Yes, very nice. They are both. Yes, Shamlila Mataji, you want to say?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, they can be offenders of the Lord if they are in that path and not accept the supremacy
In
of
what
the
way
Lord.
they are offenders? That's the question. Or
So because they may not accept the supremacy of the Lord. So they like we had learnt in Ishopanishad class that they think that the effulgence of the Lord is actually supreme, and the Lord takes a form like that, but he's actually not
so
a
basically,
personal
yes,
form.
you are
So they
right.
dissuade devotees from.
Yes,
Sorry.
correct. And here Kirtida Mataji also said similar thing. Basically, they both want to kill the personal form of the Lord. Putting it simply, isn't it? The demons also want to kill the personal form of the Lord, and the impersonalists also want to kill the personal form of the Lord. So therefore, they are both equated. They are basically, हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे हैं. हाँ? No intention to worship or to have attraction for the personal form of the Lord. Not only no attraction, but actually trying to deny its existence. All right. Okay. Very good. All right. So quick summary. So again, it might sound like repetition, but it's very important to go through the summary. Absorption in Sri Krishna is the most important aspect of Krishna Bhakti. If you are absorbing your mind in Krishna Bhakti, I am guaranteeing you, and it's not about my guarantee, Sri Rupa Goswami and all the acharyas, my most revered Guru Janas, Srila Prabhupada, and so many others will say that it's guaranteed that if you absorb yourself in Sri Krishna, you will see your bhakti jump by leaps and bounds. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Absorb yourself in Sri Krishna and your bhakti will just jump. It will see no limits. If you feel you are stagnant in bhakti, mechanical, this, that, you are not absorbing. I can say this, I can, thump my fist on the table and say this. All right. So anywhere where you see any stagnation, this is the cause. And then this leads to other things like aparadh, Vaishnav aparadh, Nam aparadh, and so many other things. But This constant, or as much as not constant, comes later, dhruva anusmriti, that is constant absorption, but start with absorption. The problem is less or almost zero absorption and just mechanical movement of the muscles. Okay. Even when you're doing your rounds, 16 rounds also you are doing, maybe one round at least do with full absorption. Try to do, okay. Everybody is short of time. 16 rounds seems like a lot. Okay, fine. You have to do 16, okay, because you have to. At least one try to do with full absorption. 15 you can, do whatever you are doing. At least one, I'm saying, not only one. If more is better, but at least start there. Introduce complete absorption to Krishna in your seva, in your bhakti. And to that extent to which you introduce, you will see the bhakti will jump. It will literally jump. And once it starts jumping, there's no looking back. Please try this. Anybody who's saying, kya temple mein kuch karne ko nahi hai, Sunday ko to bas temple aa gaye. If that feeling is coming to your mind, you're not absorbing yourself. So absorption in Sri Krishna. And what is being said is that 100% absorption in animosity is better than mechanical bhakti. So absorption, this just to show the contrast, how much important is absorption. But being 100% inimically absorbed in Krishna is not easy as well. And I'm not going to say try it and you will find out. I'm saying don't try it. It's obvious. I mean, the point one can say, and especially the 27th verse, 7.1.27, where Narada Muni says, animical is better than bhakti yoga. There he means mechanical bhakti yoga. Better to be an enemy, at least you are absorbed. That absorbed kind of enemy, not Vena kind of enemy. Jiva Goswami gives the example of Vena also. He was also a demon and he was not absorbed. In Krishna, he did not attain liberation. He was sent to hellish planets. Okay? So not every demon is equal either. Only those demons are glorified in this way, those who are at least completely absorbed in Krishna, even though inimically. That's also not easy. So don't take that as the learning. The learning is to absorb. Take that absorption part, but in a favorable way. And best is to gradually cultivate Krishna Bhakti with a loving service attitude, not inimical. And absorption in Sri Krishna. And very, very important, Aindra Prabhu said, this gradually, people make it like that, turn the knob really gradual to the level of where it is almost like zero. Gradual means, over 100 lifetimes. Abhi ye lifetime maja karenge. I'm taking it gradual. This lifetime is the level 0. Next lifetime 1, next lifetime 2, baki phir we'll see. It shouldn't become that gradual. That gradual shouldn't mean 0 or snail paced. So gradual should also mean, you have to put some forward progress. Evaluate yourself in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. How much you are, how much gradual is gradual. If it's too gradual, make it less gradual. Make it more vigorous. Okay. Absorb yourself in Srimad Bhagavatam or other Leela. First is Srimad Bhagavatam, later other Leela literatures like Shri Gopal Champu, etc. with like-minded devotees. Hanker for the desire for such association. Hanker for that. If you don't have it, desire it, hanker for it. And hanker for that greed, for that lobha. And we will come to this topic of lobha next week. To attain that attachment to Sri Krishna. Hanker for it. If you don't have it today, if you feel, I don't feel like it. At least now you know that you should feel like it. So pray to Krishna, when will I feel like it? Please make me feel. Make me have the feeling. Let me feel the feeling. Ask for that ask for that. Okay? Those who have the feeling, they will say, when will I actually attain Krishna? But if one may not even have the feeling, I don't really need Krishna. In your heart of hearts, you may think, yeah, my wife, children, house is more pleasurable. This Krishna, I am not feeling that I have to dedicate my life to Krishna. I don't feel like that attachment to Krishna like I feel for my family members or my own body. Tomorrow, if you have cancer, how much distress it will cause. Do you feel that same kind of distress because of lack of Krishna being in your life? A cancer patient will always think, oh my God, I'm going to, he loves his health so much. How I wish I was healthy. Are we feeling in the same way, how I wish I was with Krishna? So if we don't have that, then let us pray to Krishna. Let us hanker for it. When will I get so much attachment to Krishna? That should be now now you have read Rupa Goswami's literature. Now you know you should have it. At least hanker for it. Desire for the desire to be with Krishna. So that is the summary. All right. Any questions? There's one thing on the chat. Dhenuka sir also. Again, maybe we can, yeah. So I don't remember what was the destination of the Dhenuka sir. Other questions?
Which for Bhishma Pitama says like whoever were on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they were all liberated too, just by being present there. So they didn't have like any animosity or anything for Krishna, but because Krishna was present there, so they all got liberated. So did they get personal liberation or would they be also in impersonal liberation?
Okay, so the question is the soldiers on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, did they get personal liberation or impersonal liberation? So my understanding is that those who were favorable to Krishna, which means who were in Arjuna's army, they got personal liberation, and those who were in Kaurava's army got impersonal liberation. That's my understanding. It could be wrong. I can ask senior Vaishnavas and get back to you.
Prabhuji, one more question was, if a person is absorbed as well as like rāgātmika Bhakta, but Hari Parshad Prabhu, like when I was asking him, he told me that it depends on Krishna also.
Yes.
In his free will, he might not love you back. Is it true?
Yes. But so the question is, yeah, so Krishna, it is dependent on Krishna's free will when he reciprocates. But what we have to do is in our hands. We may or may not get Krishna's reciprocation. That is completely fine. And that is exactly a good segue into the next topic, which is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So that is immaterial. It is completely immaterial when Krishna reciprocates. It does not matter. Okay. What also is coming from Krishna, by the way, and more so by his devotees, is that blessing to have that mercy, we say, or that kripa, or that through past pious deeds we have done, we get the mercy to develop that attachment, that desire to be with Krishna. And then, or to develop that desire to develop a mood like one of the pure devotees. That also comes from Krishna. Okay. But we have the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, of Sri Rupa Goswami, right here in front of us. So let us try to at least desire that one day we are having the desire to develop the mood like one of the Vrajvasis. Otherwise, one may think, I don't feel like which Vrajvasi, theek hai, Yashoda, Nanda, all they are fine. I don't see that, it's okay, fine, it is written in the book. Somebody may have a desire to be like in their mood, not me. I don't. One may think, or Srimati Radharani, or one of the Gopis, or the Manjaris. Okay, it sounds very nice. They were great devotees. I really don't have that burning desire to follow to have their bhava. That's perfectly fine. That happens, that will come through the mercy of a devotee. How do you get the mercy of a devotee? First of all, you have to desire to get it. If you don't even have, if you are like, okay, my Netflix is good, I don't want to bother with all this thing, then you are in the wrong class. You should tune out of this class and turn on the Netflix right now. Drop and start Netflix. Be happy wherever you are. But now that you are hearing this, at least develop that desire. First step. To have the desire to be or to sort of follow in the footsteps of a rāgātmika bhakta. Have that desire. I don't have that desire to follow in the footstep of any rāgātmika bhakta. What to do? Show me the way. Then Krishna may, again it's his will, send a devotee to bless you, to show his mercy on you, so that that desire will then begin to fructify. Okay, these devotees in Bhagavatam are actually sweet for so and so reason. Wow. Okay, then after 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, oh wow, I'm really attracted to the mood of Srimati Radharani. How much she has sacrificed. Oh my God. But that will come once you understand her sacrifices, or the sacrifices of Nanda Baba and Yashoda Amma. There's this one story, last time I was telling that story of meeting of Srimati Radharani and Krishna in Kurukshetra. And there's this another story of, one time, again, this is allegorical, it's not in Bhagavatam, that when Uddhav ji came to Vrindavan and was looking around for the house of Nanda Baba and couldn't find the house. So then they met some cowherd girl or something, and said, I'm looking for the house of Nanda Baba. So she said, you see this little stream of water? Just keep following this stream and you will reach their home. And though that stream was the stream of their tears, which led to the house. So, by understanding these things, or again, I am explaining in a very dry way, but when you read the Shastra and you will hear and see these kind of things, you may develop that, oh my God, I want that. I want that. So somehow this feeling can arise. Okay. I don't know where we started. What was your question? How we came here? Anyway, doesn't matter. No. Whether Krishna can decide or whether we. So what is in your, so that was the question. So what is in your hands is to study Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ. Now you are studying. Now you know that we need to develop that desire to follow to have that bhava of one of the pure devotees. And if you don't have that desire to develop that bhava, then develop the desire to develop that desire. At least that much you know. That will be the key to your spiritual success as a Gaudiya Vaishnav. You are in Gaudiya Vaishnav line. Like it or not, you are right now in that. If you don't want to be there, again, you should walk out of the class and go and join some other class of another sampradaya. In this sampradaya, the key is to develop the mood of another rāgātmika bhakta. Okay? So you have to understand their bhava, their rasa. And the whole Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ is all about that. The later ones, the other oceans. Very soon we will finish Eastern Ocean. It's not part of the syllabus, but you should read it later. Okay? So that's where we came. Yes, Ananya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I have just a small question. So you talked about the Sayujya Mukti, which like merging to Brahman, which the devotees and even the demons get, impersonalist and the demons get, right? So do they fall down from there, or they always remain in like Brahma Sukha there?
Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamam paramam mama. Once you go to spiritual world, there is no fall down, period, end of story, chapter closed, no other points, no fall down ever again, done, finish.
Oh, so do they get a chance to upgrade like to other mukti from there?
Yes, yes, from Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu. आगे क्या है last? Mad bhaktim labhate param. So even in the Brahma Bhuta stage, then they can, those who have reached that Brahma Bhuta stage by that severe penance, austerity, blah, 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 not by bhakti, at that point they get Mad bhaktim labhate param. Then they get the bhakti and then they can graduate up, yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
But our goal is not that. It's not to go to first to that. Our goal is directly to go to the highest planet.
Yeah, sure.
We have shortcut. Remember the staircase and elevator in Bhagavad Gita class? So don't get off at 97th floor and walk the 3 levels up. Directly to the 100th floor. No staircase at all. Yes.
Which I think in the starting lectures when we were discussing about the fish, and then in that case, I think you explained that the fish which are shallow, like the impersonalists, they can like Rupa Goswami was saying that they can evaporate, not the fish, but if
Makara, the crocodiles and the sharks.
Yeah, so since the impersonalists are on the top of the water, so they can just evaporate and go back again to the material world. But since the bhaktas are deep inside the sea, they are not bothered of like going back to the material world. But impersonalists can go back to the material world.
Impersonalists can go back to material world as long as they are already in material world, they can fall further down.
Okay. Not like once
like Vishwamitra Muni, or there are so many examples. Even in ISKCON, you will see what fall down of sannyasi, whatever. They have done a lot of devotional service, but somehow they get into some bad habit and fall down. But that only happens once, as long you can fall down from
levels, not
your own level. But once you have been liberated, there is no fall down. And that Makara example is given in a different context. That the Makaras, the pure devotees, are like those sharks who are freely roaming in the deep ocean, unbothered by all the other material tribulations. So the context was different. Okay, anything else? There's something on the chat. If we want Krishna as human family for close association like Yadavas or Vrishnis, it leads to long-lasting pain as he never appears as such easily. I did not understand that. Okay. Why should one be advised to approach Krishna? So why should one be advised to approach Krishna? Better for people to be in illusion, know with their family and children, etc. So maybe your question is that why endure so much pain? Again, let's not discuss about, I didn't understand the Vrishnis, but the Gopis also endured pain, isn't it? So much separation. So is your question that why desire to be in the mood of a Gopi when there is so much pain waiting for you? Who wants pain? You want to spend all your spiritual progress, all your life, ultimately to get what? Pain. Is that the goal? Why should we desire for pain? Right? So I think that is your question. You can send a chat back to confirm if that is your question. But if that is your question, that will be answered right now. Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay? It's a very deep topic, and but I will try my best to explain. Yes, Abhimanyu Prabhu.
Prabhuji, on that answer you gave on spiritual, if somebody attains the spiritual realm, they don't come back. But Prabhuji, even what I understood is, even for people like us, we were always in the spiritual planet, but we came down because we were.
No, we
had
were
a
never in the
hanker-
spiritual world. No.
No, but
Every
we
advanced
wanted to
understanding.
enjoy other than Krishna, right? I mean, that's my understanding, that we were there, but we wanted to enjoy other than Krishna.
This
So
is a
that's why.
long discussion, whether we were in spiritual world and then we fell down, or what if we go again, then we will not fall down. It's a long discussion. Also off topic for the moment. But the short answer is that there is a something called as a way to explain to a newcomer devotee. Like a small child, if he asks, how was I born? Mother or father will not explain the whole process of how the child is born. He will not understand it, right? So they will say that, this example of a stork or a swan, swan was carrying you in a basket and he left you at our door. One day we found you in a basket left by a swan and you became our child. And the child is happy. So there is a beginner level understanding. And then there is the advanced level understanding. When he becomes mature, then he can learn biology and all that stuff and how child is born. So what you are saying is correct. And at many times, our previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and even to certain extent Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc., have explained it in that way. The point there too is not that we fell down. The point is that, to be taken again, like here, the point is not, oh, now let's go full steam and develop animosity to Krishna, because then we will become 100%, we will be liberated like Shishupal. That's not the point. Then one is missing the point. Or like Ajamil, one time we will just take the name even as a name of child. That was not the point, that you become like Ajamil. The point was the other side, the power of the name. Even if you take it once without absorption, it has so much benefit. What to speak of if you take it with bhav or with absorption? So in the same way, the point is, it's not like why we fell down or we wanted to be away from Krishna. Right now you are away from Krishna. Therefore, try to turn toward Krishna. That is the point to be taken. The advanced level understanding is that we were never in the spiritual world. We are known as tatastha shakti. Tatastha, we are on the margin. So neither in the spiritual world nor in the material world. Tat matlab on the bank. And then we were either bahirmukh or antarmukh. So whoever was bahirmukh got attracted toward the one side, came into the material world, and we started enjoying, and we are here. Okay. You want a detailed understanding, very nice understanding of this by previous acharyas, you can read Jaiva Dharma. Chapter numbers 15 and 16 are very nicely explaining, but take a good translation. You have to check the translation also. So take a good translation and you will get clear understanding of Jiva Tattva from there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, so much. Okay, so Sai Prabhu is replying yes to my rephrasing of the question. So much pain waiting in separation. Yes, that is true. हाँ भाई, पेन करने के लिए लिया था क्या भक्ति को? तो we will answer that question. ठीक है? So let's move into Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, we'll spend some time on this. So this Saturday class little bit long so that we can go deeper and yet make fast progress. That's what most. I did a poll on WhatsApp one time. Everybody said we want to go deep and we want to go fast. So the result is more longer classes. Something has to give, right? सब कुछ तो there's no free lunch. थोड़ा good, fast and cheap. Pick any two, you cannot pick the third. That's the formula, right? If you can have good and fast, it won't be cheap. Or you can have good and cheap, or you can have fast and cheap. It will, whatever. Okay, Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So this is described in 5 verses. We will go through these 5 verses and probably that's where we will end. May go on till for another half an hour or so. Please endure. If all you are here for is attendance, 1.5 hour class is the stipulated time. You will get your attendance if you have stayed for 1.5 hour. So you can leave, you will get the attendance. Or if you have to go to do some other important work, you can watch the recording. So 5 verses are explaining Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Again, I had explained the essence in the previous class, the first class, 2 weeks back, but we will go into little more detail. So 283rd verse is the core definition of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay. So Ragatmika Bhakti is of 2 types. Just a quick recap. Please wake up if you want to hear the recap. So recap is that we started with Rāgātmika Bhakti. And Rāgātmika Bhakti is to follow the mood or to develop a mood, or we can say follow the footsteps of a Rāgātmika Bhakta. All right. And Rāgātmika Bhaktas are of 2 types, or Rāgātmika Bhakti, which is present in a Rāgātmika Bhakta, is of 2 types. What is the first one? Kama Rupa Ragatmika, and the second type? Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika. So now we are dealing with Kama Rupa Ragatmika. Is being explained. So far, in general, the various Ragatmikas were described, out of which we eliminated the Ragatmika in a negative way and mixed ones, and Vaidhi also we eliminated. We were left with again 2. Now we are separating the 2. So the core definition of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Sa Kama Rupa Sambhoga Trishnam Ya Nayati Swatam Yadasyam Krishna Saukhyartham Eva Kevalam Udyamaha. So every word, every line is important, and I have translated, or I have kind of more or less, I have kept the translation of Bhanu Swami and from other sources, but I have broken it down into a line by line basis, not word by word basis, but line by line is okay. Sa Kama Rupa Sambhoga. So Sambhoga is with Trishna. So we'll take those 2 words together. So she is called Kama Rupa Bhakti, Sa Kama Rupa. Sambhog Trishnam Ya Nayati Swatam. Okay, so this is it. What it means is that bhakti which causes one to attain her personal nature. Whose personal nature? Bhakti Devi's personal nature, by an intrinsic thirst for a conjugal relationship with Sri Krishna. Too many words, I will explain. Okay, don't worry. So that bhakti is called Kama Rupa Bhakti, where basically there is a thirst for a conjugal relationship with Krishna. And I will explain why. Conjugal means like a boy-girl kind of, this called conjugal. But towards what goal? What is the goal? The goal is to attain the nature of Bhakti Devi, to become Bhakti Devi. Or not become Bhakti Devi, I take back my words, but to attain the mood of Bhakti Devi, like complete, you are Bhakti personified. Are you following? Nayati Swatam. You take on the mood of Bhakti Devi. Okay? And what happens in that? Yad asyam Krishna Saukhya Artham. So Saukhya Artham will break as Sukha Artham. So the only goal in this bhakti, Yad asyam, in this bhakti, the only goal is Artha means goal. Artha. That is my Artha. That is my what I want, right? Krishna Sukh. Not Swasukh. Krishna Sukh. So the only goal is happiness of Krishna. That's the only goal. So please try to understand this very carefully. Eva kevalam udyamaha. Udyam matlab kya hota hai? all your efforts, all your activities that you do, eva kevalam, are only for this one goal. Whatever you are thinking, mentally doing, your whole existence is towards one goal. What is that one goal? Happiness of Krishna. Happiness of Krishna, to make Krishna happy. Okay. So some of the points to be understood from this verse, like this is now my sort of main bullet points, important learnings or important points of this verse, which defines Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. The first one is that this devotee, this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, is none other than who? Bhakti personified. Ya Nayati Swatam. Okay, this person has taken over Swatam, the nature of Bhakti. I am Bhakti, or not I am, but that devotee is, you see that devotee and all you will see is Bhakti in that devotee. And this will be shown in the next verse, very nice verse by Sri Rupa Goswami. Very nice verse. I don't think I have the Sanskrit of it in the slides because it was complex, but I will. Second one, Sambhog Trishna. This is complicated. Sambhog, you understand? Union. And typically it is meant like a man-woman union. So why this Sambhog? So this union, that is the material meaning of Sambhog. Sambhog Trishna means that one's, please try to understand, this is very important discussion, very important discussion. Please, please, please try to understand it carefully, okay? It is not just boy-girl thing, all right? It's completely deep, 180-degree opposite from that. So please try to understand. It is what Sambhog Trishna means, that what is Trishna? Hankering. So one's hankering is unified with Krishna's hankering. Whatever Krishna is hankering for, I am hankering for. My existence is no different from Krishna. My enjoyment is Krishna's enjoyment, or Krishna's enjoyment is my enjoyment. Now that's why I have written third bullet. It is not the same as my enjoyment is in Krishna's enjoyment. No, 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 no. There is no my happiness. There is no my happiness. Me, even my me doesn't even exist. Okay? There's no words. I'm not a very word I'm not an orator or a, very good in communicating, but try to get the point that my happiness is unified with Krishna's happiness. But it is different from saying my happiness is in Krishna's happiness. My mom used to say, or typically my wife says to my children, tumhare sukh mein mera sukh hai. In your happiness, I have my happiness. Every parent will say that to the child, for example. It's even deeper than that. Okay? There is only desire and action. There is no me, mine, nothing. There's only desire and action. Action is to make Krishna happy. Desire is to make Krishna happy. Just basically the point is Krishna Saukhyartham. That is the goal. And eva kevalam udyam. All your udyam, all your existence, basically, actions, thoughts, everything is towards that one goal. What goal? Krishna Saukhyartham. Whatever makes Krishna happy, I will do. Are you following? No sense of I, mine, etc. Anything. Okay? So next. So why is there a reference to conjugal union? You could have said it in different way. Why bring in this boy-girl thing? Hai ki nahi? Because, so this conjugal like kama, we say kama. So for some people, the moment you say Kam, what comes to mind? Kama Sutra, Kama, Sambhoga Trishna. So it feels like some sexual aspect, boy girl thing. Why this? Why this has been? Why you can say like no? Why you are like kind of why this needs to be brought out in such a pure thing when we are discussing why this aspect need to be brought out, which we generally think is not so pure, right? It is just to give a sense from material viewpoint to the sadhakas. Our acharyas are trying to Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu is meant for whom? For the sadhakas or for siddhas? For sadhakas, siddhas don't need Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. Hai ki nahi? Sadhakas need it. So, from the material viewpoint, the conjugal union is the highest pleasure, isn't it? Highest pleasure is conjugal union. So many topmost people, they have ruined, I was reading this, careers because of this. Presidents have ruined their careers. Bill Clinton, this other guy, Google CEO, what is his name? Not CEO, Sergey Brin. He had a, I was reading the Sundar Pichai, how he became CEO. First, there were the two founders are Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Huh? Larry Page had a voice problem. His voice was lost. Something serious happened. For a few years, he couldn't talk. He had no voice. Like this. Now, can you imagine CEO without any voice? He can only type. Then the other founder, Sergey Brin, he had extramarital affair. So he was eliminated from the race. Enter Mr. Pichai. Right person at the right time. So Google, Intel they fired the CEO because he had this thing, right? Brian Krzanich. He was fired, CEO of Intel, just 4 years back. So it's not that power. They were very powerful people, very wealthy people. Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, which is the most, where people are attracted the most, even more than Dhanam and Janam is Sundarim aspect. So this is the highest sense of happiness in the material world. I'm trying to make that point. So Rupa Goswami is also using that, saying that so the next bullet is that, okay, to give the highest happiness to Krishna. That is the point being conveyed. And the material understanding of highest happiness is Kama or Sambhoga. So that is the point. But that's why I put it in bold. For Sri Krishna, he's not a sex maniac or anything like that. This is for our understanding. Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and later on Shri Rupa Goswami also will say, Kama here is nothing other than prema. Complete prema for Shri Krishna. Okay? An intense desire for Shri Krishna's happiness. And this is not at a material level. This is at a completely spiritual level. And the point is, one can say, okay, everything is okay except for this. Right? But in Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, nothing is off limits. Absolutely nothing is off limits. Everything is on the table, as you say. It's all, like what you say, full, all in. All in. Limitless desire to make Sri Krishna happy. Now, in Sambandha Rupa, as a contrast, I explained in that class, there are some limits. If Sri Ram tells to Hanumanji, I want to fall at your feet, that is off limits for Hanumanji. He will not say, okay, if it makes you happy, here are my feet, please touch. He will never do that. Never. Even if it makes Lord Ram happy, that is off limits. But for gopis, it is not off limits. Okay? And we will see one example. Not even. So what all is not off limits? Now you can see. Not even their chastity, their character, social status, recognition, title, etc. Nothing is important. Not even their chastity. For a woman, what is the highest thing? Their chastity. So even that is on the table. And the point is that one's essential nature becomes to please Sri Krishna. That becomes their thirst. Their thirst is to please Sri Krishna. Okay, I have it in the next slide that I will just say it, that thirst, to give you an idea, it means that they are willing to pay the maximum price. I have invented this term or this line, so to say. They are willing to pay the maximum price for even the slightest pleasure of Krishna. They will not hold back. You might hold back, my child will just, feel happy for 5 minutes. Why I need to give him a space ride? I don't know, whatever, Elon Musk or, space ride for 5 minutes costs $100,000. You can go into space. If you're not that rich or something, "Arey bhai, theek hai yaar, 5 minutes, what is so much pleasure? I'll take you to Disneyland. There you can go on roller coaster. That's only $300 ticket. Why you are wanting me to pay $100,000 to go into space? Come on, yeah, I'm giving you a compromise. Now we'll go to Disneyland." What will the gopis say? They will sell their house. They will sell their body and say, no, you take that 5-minute pleasure. Basically, the point is maximum sacrifice for even the slightest benefit to Sri Krishna. That's their level. So please try to understand the level of the gopis. There is a reason why they are called the topmost devotee. Okay. So next verse 284, Sri Rupa Goswami has composed, and he says, don't have the verse, but it's a beautiful verse. I have taken some Sanskrit terms, that this Kama Rupa Bhakti resides brilliantly, virajate. Viraj, it's virajman, like on a throne, it's sitting. So whenever you see gopi, all you see is bhakti. You don't see anything else. In the famous women of Vraja, suprasiddha Vraj Devishu. All right. So this bhakti, this Kama Rupa Bhakti is so evident. It's just shining bright in the Vraja Devishu, in the women or the gopis, the elderly gopis and the younger gopis of Vraj. And there it is nothing but prema, that has already been said. And their prema has a special type of sweetness, because it gives rise to all kinds of krida, sport, you can say, or amorous actions. The goal of all those actions is to please Sri Krishna. That is the goal. Please try to understand very carefully this Kama Rupa. Otherwise, this is a very misunderstood topic. Why, all this, boy, girl, and all these things, kissing of, why all this, Bhagwan should be more like, Ramji, or better still, Narsinghadev, no even woman in the picture. Or Vamandev, or, somebody like that, why all this? So this is to show the nature of the devotee. And again, I'm trying to say the same thing, but in a different way. But the goal is to please Krishna to the maximum, regardless of the personal cost. And I will show a very beautiful example as given by both Sri Jiva Goswami. I have not selected this example. They have selected. Everything I am saying is coming from their commentaries, okay? I am not inventing any of this stuff. I'm just putting it in my own words to convey it in simpler language. So they are basically willing to pay the maximum price for the slightest pleasure of Krishna. Okay. So now comes the example. Are you all ready? Example by Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Jiva Goswami gives the example. So Krishna was walking in the forest. Okay. And the gopis thought that his feet might be hurting due to the pebbles and the rough ground. Right? And Krishna didn't have shoes. So the gopis thought, what is the softest place which we can offer to Sri Krishna for his feet are so soft, so soft. And they were feeling the pain that Krishna is walking barefoot in the forest. What is the softest place we can offer for Krishna's feet to rest? What is the answer?
Your hands, Gopis' hands.
So don't answer. I don't want to hear any answers. We'll just read the Bhagavatam verse. Okay, and you can just relish it. I don't want any discussion on it. We'll move on. I hope some of you are getting the idea. So we will look at 10.31.19. And you can see here to what extent they are willing to go. Remember this, maximum price for the slightest pleasure for Krishna. And it's not like Krishna is asking, oh, I need the softest place to put my feet. Krishna was not asking. They felt, they saw, they felt, and they are just willing to offer. Okay? So we will go to Srimad Bhagavatam. Which one? 10th canto, 31st chapter, and 19th verse. So the question was, what is the softest place they can offer to Krishna? Oh, dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. But the mood is not anything like, boy-girl thing. The mood is to give the maximum happiness to Krishna, or to give his rest to his feet. And that is just written or shown in the next line. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by the pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. Can you imagine the level of the gopis? This is why they are glorified. Following? Nothing is off limits. Nothing. This some people may convert into all kind of, nonsense kind of offensive arguments. But when you read the literature of Sri Rupa Goswami with the commentaries and all, you will understand the depth here of what is being discussed. Okay? It's not any Kama Sutra nonsense. Or vulgarity is like zero. There's nothing vulgar here. Okay? All right. So that is so few more points. Then, so that was 284. 283 was the definition. Kama Rupa Bhakti, which is, what is the main word? Krishna Saukhyartham. The goal is for Krishna's Sukh. That is the goal. Next verse was showing that the Vraj Devishu are exemplifying or are showing this in the highest possible way. That bhakti, that Kama Rupa Bhakti is being exemplified by the Vraj Devis. So that was the next verse. Now very quickly, this is the last slide for today and then we'll stop. 285th verse, Sri Rupa Goswami himself is saying that, sorry, this for some reason the first word is not coming. Premaiva, not Remaiva. Okay. Premaiva, I'm happy that at least the English one was there. Okay. Premaiva Gopa Ramanam Kama Itya Agamat Pratham. So in the Agama, he's quoting the Agamas. There's Agamas and Nigamas, literally the Vedic literature. In the Vedas it is written, Premaiva Gopa Ramanam Kama. That the intense love of the gopis is called Kama. It's not that sensual or the sexual aspect. It's the intense prema, which has zero material aspect to it. So that word, that what we said earlier, this point that Jiva Goswami and Sri Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is saying that Kama is nothing else other than prema. In their commentary to this verse, the previous verse, that itself is also being said by Sri Rupa Goswami directly as a verse, number 285. Okay? And he is taking the support of the Agama literatures, but he is basically saying Premaiva Gopa Ramanam Kama. Ramanam Kama. Okay? That intense love of the gopis is called Kama. Okay? Next verse he says that even Uddhavji, who is the greatest devotee, he, in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we will read, 10:47-58, he wants to develop this kind of bhava like the gopis towards Shri Krishna. Now, if there was any element of like a, something boy-girl thing, do you think Uddhavji would desire for it? Huh? Never. So this point is being used to make the point that there is no tinge of material lust here. Else there would be no question of Shri Uddhavji to desire it. Hai ki nahi? So Sri Rupa Goswami is giving these points to kind of hammer the point in our head that this has nothing to do with material lust. So let us quickly see this. 10:47-58. So we will go to 10:47-58. After hearing all this is Brahmar Gita, after hearing all of that, Shri Uddhav Ji says this. Let's just read this. Ainesa Mataji, would you mind reading this translation?
Among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their embodied lives, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Lord Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well.
And by
For one-
ourselves as well.
as well.
It
For
means by
one who
me.
has tested the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as high-class Brahmana, or even as Lord Brahma himself?
See? He's saying, what's the use of being born as Brahma even, if you cannot have that bhava of the gopis? And he's saying that bhava even I desire. Uddhavji is saying that. All right? So there is absolutely nothing, no material, there's absolutely nothing material about it. Now, Sri Rupa Goswami Swami says, by the way, if you really want to know of lust towards Krishna, the boy-girl lust, there is one example of that also. Which one?
Kubja.
Kubja. Yes. So he's saying if somebody has that, it's not the gopis. There is an example, counter example to show that, okay, is there anyone like that? Yes, Kubja. So the actual lustful desire for conjugal union was present in Kubja. And we can read, now we are running way beyond time, so I will skip this, but 10:42:9. Here you will see Kubja has this lustful desire. Okay? There also you can think gopis, or they are offering their breast. But in the second line, everything is clarified. That we want to give you the maximum pleasure regardless of the cost we have to pay. So that mood is clarified there. And here the mood is, no, I want to enjoy with you. Hence, would you call Kubja a rāgātmika bhakta? No. There is no chapter or no injunction of Sri Rupa Goswami that you should develop bhav of Kubja. That's not within Rāgānugā or anywhere in that whole discussion. That will never occur. But the point is, don't equate gopis bhava with Kubja bhav. It's 180-degree opposite. 180. In Kubja, how is it 180-degree? Literally geometric 180-degree. How? Kubja, my pleasure. Gopis, Krishna's pleasure. 180-degree opposite. ठीक है भाई? All right. We could go to Sambandhanuga, but that will take time. We are already way past. So we'll stop, and next week we will have, we'll watch out, please watch out. Now there are multiple devotees going to be visiting Portland. So we'll do some classes which are not at regular time. I'll keep announcing, so please watch out. Any questions? Okay, so there's something in the chat. Yeah, so Amal Bhakta Rani Mataji is mentioning this. Another example, like of Hanumanji, like I mentioned Hanumanji, he would never let Lord Ram touch his feet. There is this example of headache of Krishna, transcendental headache. I'm assuming all of you know that story. And Krishna wanted to show Narada Muni who is the topmost devotee. So he feigned means or faked a headache. Oh, I'm having headache. Narada Muni said, what can I do to relieve your headache? Lord Krishna said, give me the dust of your feet. To Narada Muni, he said, give me the dust of your feet. That is my ointment or my balm. Narada Muni said, no. What are you talking about? No. So that was off limits for Narada Muni. But they say, if you cannot give, then get it from somewhere else. I'm telling you. I mean, if you don't have tiger balm in your pocket, then get it from the store or get it from somebody else who has the tiger balm. Right now, I need tiger balm, which is dust of a devotee's feet, pure devotee's feet. So he went to Brahmaji, he went to Lord Shiva. Everybody refused. He went to the gopis and everybody was giving example. Hare, what are you talking? He's my Lord. And you know, that aspect. Gopi said, Hare, take more dust. They brought a lot of dust. They rolled their feet in it. And then they said, take it. So Narad Muni asked, isn't he your Lord? Isn't he the Supreme Lord? The Gopi said, if he may be the Lord of the universe, I don't care. My first priority is his headache should be relieved. Then we'll worry about him being the Lord of the universe. So that is the example. Then, so others were scared of giving the dust. Yeah, today's discussion, yes. Is there a limit to the Gopa's friend's care for Krishna? Is Kubja an eternal associate of Krishna in Dwarka? Yeah, so Kubja is an eternal associate. There is, I think I had that one line in the, which I didn't emphasize, that there was some small degree of prema towards Krishna, but just for that itself, Krishna gave her a position in the spiritual world. Krishna gives position in spiritual world to you know, if he can give it to enemies, why not to Kubja? Okay. There's another question. Is there a limit to the Gopa's friends? What is the limit? Sambandha, we will discuss this next time. Sambandha Rupa. There the Sambandha will come because that is Sakhya. Sakhya is a Sambandha, Vatsalya is a Sambandha. We'll discuss it next time. To answer one question, which was earlier pain. Why so much pain? Why endure so much pain for Krishna? Huh? That was the question, which is related to kāmānugā. It is also related to Sambandhanugā also. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, Mother Yashoda also had pain of separation. Okay, so the pain aspect is common, but it is most evident in the gopis. And that is because Krishna wanted to have this final union with the gopis, not again sensual, but that meeting in Kurukshetra. And he wanted that to be the, and this is where Hari Parshad Prabhu's classes and all will make a lot of sense. I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to be able to do justice in explaining, but in lack of time, I will explain it in very short. That rasa of separation ultimately led to the highest level of union. So the more you were separated, the more that final union was sweeter. It's like, you know, halwa. You know how to make halwa? You have to keep churning it, keep stirring it. If you stir less, then it will be not so good. The more, like gold, the more you, what do you say? Put it in the oven or in the fire, the more it will. So the separation and union are like, this whole thing about, you know, separation and union is a huge topic, which I am not qualified much to speak about. But it was that separation was giving happiness to Krishna. Not happiness like, oh, he's like a sadist. It's not like that separation. That separation is sweet. That's all I will leave it as. It's hard to explain. But it's, Krishna was also in full pain. He endured. The last 3 sessions of recent visit of Hari Parshad Prabhu was the hankering God. Yeah, there was no material suffering at all, neither in Krishna nor in the gopis. So it is all, so there is a very deep understanding, but we cannot do justice to it. I am not qualified to do it, even if I had 10 hours. And we also don't even have 10 hours. So that's why we must go listen to devotees, associate with devotees, listen. To understand a stupid little particle physics, we spend 4 years of PhD. And we want to understand prema of Radha and Krishna, not possible in 5 minutes. You have to spend years. Just to understand simple how material world works, we spend years. So let's spend the time. That's my whole point. Read Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with devotees who have read it, who have the taste, and who can explain it in that tasteful way. And your bhakti will jump. Literally, it will jump by like orders of magnitude. On a logarithmic scale, it will look like a curve, upward curve. On a logarithmic scale, that's the extent to which it will jump. Mathematically, I'm saying. Okay. Anything else? I think we answered all the questions and all the points. At least we touched upon them. So we will see you all next time and discuss Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. And then that section on Ragatmika will end. And next we will go into the Adhikar of Rāgānuga Bhakti, who is eligible for Rāgānuga Bhakti. And then we will cover the 3 verses. The Rāgānuga Bhakti process, the core process is explained in 3 verses. 294, 295, 296. They are the actual verses, which this whole thing is theory. Who is a Rāgātmika? I have to develop their mood. Okay, once you get to that point, now what to do? Only 3 verses. Very important verses, 294, 295, 296. So once that is done, then the rest is, then it's analysis and explanation, and we'll be done with Rāgānuga Bhakti. Then we'll move to Bhava Bhakti chapter. ठीक है. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you Prabhuji,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much. It is very
Thank you,
wonderful
Prabhuji.
class.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Okay, we will close the call.